No one cared who I was till I put on the mask. Yes, here we are, Lootville TCG SquashedPeas here with you, bringing the early peek at Zorga Masques, because I can, really. Yes, you may have seen this in a fight we did recently of Zorga Masques versus Hexorb. Go check that out, by the way. Fun fight. So I figured I'd just talk about the list that I have it at right now. Is a little different from the fights list, because, you know, I've been able to test a couple of changes, and I think I'm pretty happy with it as it is now. So, ride line first of all, let's get into that. Our editor's favourite starter, and I can't run anything else. Yeah. Ranker Chain. Ranker Chain is still one of the best ride line cards in the entire game. You know, Soul Blast 1, draw 2, discard either an order or 2 cards. It's just free, and has a good rearguard skill. Plus 2k if you played an order. Very good 10k booster. The grade 2 is the Husk Dragon, which gets back an order when you ride it. Only normal orders, unfortunately, so you can't get back Sanctitude. Sad, but it is what it is. And of course, the man himself. We run Blue Zorga for this ride line because I think he is superior. Just having CB1 call a unit from drop. It's a good thing to get use out of before you go into Mask. And hey, let's just, you know, we've got all the Vanguard Dragon Tree markers because why not? Right, main deck. Let us just talk about the big man himself, Zorga Masques. Oh, there's a lot of glare there, my apologies. So, Zorga Masques, if you don't know what he does, he can only be ridden on top of a grade 3 with Zorga in his card name. Yeah, when you play a normal order, you can bind any other normal order from your drop and Alchemagic. Can be same name or different name. That's always a positive. If you have Alchemagic this turn, all of your front row units gain plus 10,000 power. And his Act, which allows you to remove a Zorga with a different name from hand, soul, or drop zone, to choose any card from your drop zone. If it's a normal unit, you call it. If it's a unit, you call it, I should say. If it's a normal order, you add it back to your hand. And if it's anything else, well, you just get to point to it and say, I'm targeting this. Yeah, it does nothing if it's not one of those 2 card types. But no, this man does so much. Especially, you know, going second if your opponent's a grade 3, since you have the Persona ride, you can just give plus 20 to your front row for no reason. And I love that. Next, we've got the man, the Roaming Prison Dragons. When you play a normal order, you call him back from drop. If you Alchemagicked, you get both effects, otherwise you only get one. You can either give him 10k or a crit. But he's going to be, at minimum, like a 35k. Like, provided that everything is going according to plan. He'll be a 35k with crit, and he's just very good. Next, 4 of the best cards in the deck. I stand by this. Shadow Cloak is incredible. Being able to dump any normal order from your deck on play from hand is ridiculous. And every time you play an order, you Soul Blast 1 to give him 5k, and if you Alchemagic, you can target any unit you have on board and bounce it back to hand. So you can do some neat stuff like using your orders to call back like triggers or PGs, and then using this guy to get them back to your hand so that you have a lot of defensive capability on your opponent's turn. This card was a godsend, and I'm so glad it exists. Run 4 pretty much always. Next, another new man. This one, Keel Serpent, I believe it's called. So he says, if you attack with Zorga Masques and you don't control one of these, you counterblast 1 and retire one of your rearguards to call this card from your drop to a rearguard circle that has a Dragon Tree marker. Sometimes you're going to have to get used to the fact that you'll see this and no Dragon Tree generators, and vice versa, but this guy giving Zorga a 4th attack was totally not a mistake. I promise you that much. Speaking of Dragon Tree markers, we're only running 3 of this now. It used to be a 2 and 1 split of the grade 2 that searches a Masques, which this guy. But I'm not running him anymore because he's a little bit too resource intensive for this build of the deck. You can run him, like there's absolutely no problem with it, but I just prefer this guy because he's a good booster, he can get you back orders in a pinch, and, you know, CB1 to make a Dragon Tree marker on place. That kind of just gets your deck going. Plus 5k is no joke. Next, Nulls, so 3 of the Inset and 1 of the Sanctitude, because Sanctitude is a real card. Jet and Messiah are still decks. You have to respect them as much as you don't want to. And, you know, these are these. Now for the orders themselves, the backbone of our deck, as it were. Jump scare. Yeah, Mask of Hydragram. So this lets you, you know, ride your Zorga Masques, and also is just a free order, so you can play this, and then now that it's in drop, you can suck it in and ride your Zorga. It's very good, very synergistic, and you know, it's very easy to get this into graveyard thanks to Shadow Cloak. 1 of Clouded Miasma, because you only really need to do this once, because Zorga Masques giving plus 10k is usually enough, but it is still call something back from drop. Nothing wrong with that. The Cup, because Persona riding is very important, especially when you can just dunk this with Shadow Cloak if you fail to ride, and then activate it from drop by Alchemagic. 1 Tearful Malice, so sack 2 rears, draw a card, put it into Soul, countercharge 1, it's free, it gets you back resources, and the way it works with Prison Dragon, you know, you sack the Prison Dragons, now they're in drop and they see the order being played, so they come back immediately after. That's always nice. Then, 3 of this card, because this card lets you be the aggressor. Resentment, just, you know, Soul Blast 1 to look at the top 3. You can bin up to 1 of them. That's the neat part. You don't have to bin anything if you see all triggers. And then call a card back from drop if its grade is less than or equal to your Vanguard. So that can let you, you know, starting from turn 2, be hyper-aggressive. And then, this is the flex slot. This can basically just be any order you want it to be. I just prefer this because I like the card draw and the surveil. Well, the look of the top card and either bin it or leave it on top. Good to confirm triggers. Especially this trigger. Haha, so this is the red OT from Festival Collection. It was a recent edition and I love it so much. So what you do with this one is, you choose one of your standing rear guards and give it the effect of, at the end of the battle it attacks, once per turn, restand it. So putting this on a Prison Dragon is basically just game if your opponent doesn't have enough ways to block it out. Yeah. And if you don't choose anything, by the way, you draw 1 and call 1 card from your hand. So if for some reason all of your rear guards are rested before you attack with Zorga, hey, your opponent might have had 2 of the Stoicheia Cycle card and stunned your front row. Who knows? But no, this thing just gets so much done. Whether you run this or the Stoicheia OT is basically personal preference. I just prefer this because I like being the aggressor. Next, Effect Crits, featuring Urara, because why not? These are good. Regular crits. I like Razed. Yeah, but 8 crit is the go because you want to just smash face. 3 fronts. You can do 7 crit 4 front as well if you want, but I just prefer 8 crit 3 front. And you want fronts in this deck because, you know, you want to be as big and buff as possible. And then the heals. I'm currently running 2-2. Again, personal preference. This is just because I respect Gandiva. Gandiva is a very good deck and it gains natural crit. Same with Messiah, Jet if it happens to check OT, Ava because of the Obscadeds. There's a lot of decks that can sort of fold to the 25k shield. And there you go. So, it's a very enjoyable deck. I do very much recommend playing it if you like a sort of non-linear mid-range tempo that can just randomly go aggressive when it wants to. And yeah, take care of yourselves everyone, and have a good rest of your day or night.